Afternoon, good evening, and good day. Good morning to those of you on the West Coast. We've got a short show today, unless somebody pops in on the co-host side. But let's look at it. See what we got. Yeah, different angle because I changed my monitor around, and now can't quite get the camera where I like it. But you can't see the microphone, which is right here. So that's a plus. The camera and microphone were too close together before. Uh, Anecdotes for this week, aside from being slammed at work. Oh, I need to make sure the chat is working and that the audio is working. Stand by. Frame rate is low, but that's to be expected at the start of a show. Okay, it is working. All right, so anecdotes from this week were you can see the thumbnail for this week's show, the video, the picture for the live stream is the last time I saw my Model S. It was at the dealership that we sold it to, and it was there with the Model X. So you have Tachikoma, which is the Model X, and Fonda, which was the Model S, have them parked next to each other. And there was a small photo shoot there. Hello, Moto. How are you? Say hi to everybody. Brilliant wave. Yes. So that was the last time those vehicles were together, and the last time I saw the Model S. And it's a very unique Model S. It's got a combination of options that there weren't a lot of, and due to its age and its color. Yes, sweetie. No, you don't need to touch anything on the desk. Oh, what, you want the remote to the light? Why? She hits the button and it says, "Ow." Yeah. So you want to turn the fan? Yeah, it's kind of hot in here. And don't turn it all the way off. All right, so a little bit of fan going. Anyway, so that was the last time I saw the Model S until we were 90% sure of that this yesterday because remember that the Model S was involved in a multiple rear end collision with a semi truck. And although it was repaired at the body shop, the bumper still looks a little different than stock. And so we're getting on the highway, and I see a champagne colored Model S pull up behind us. And I'm like, does that have AP1 or not? Couldn't really see the gap underneath the nose cone to see where the radar module lives. But then going on, I saw the single camera that comes with AP1, and then I did get a better view and saw that it did have the radar. It had the same wheels as us, the slipstream wheels, the swirly turbine ones that looked like the regular 19s, but they were kind of curved instead of straight. Do you want up or down, child? Accurate. High five. Bong. Bong. What the ball? Mommy's trying to take a nap and you don't want to? I think you should take a nap. What's up, Robert? Good to see you. Get you on screen here. Um, so anyway, as this Model S is kind of tooling around behind us, I've got the car in FSD. It's doing its thing. It cuts them off. FSD does that sometimes. And then as we get on the highway, I tell FSD to get out of the tell it to get out of the on ramp because it's a longer on ramp, and the car will run until the end of the on ramp, which is a terrible behavior. It's not comfortable. I mean, it's nothing wrong with it legally, but it's not what people expect as a passenger or as a somebody else on the road receiving all of this. So I tell it to get over, and they get over 2 lanes, and then they speed up. And as they are passing me, I see, all right, those are my same wheels that were on mine. And then as it passes us, I see the black 90D badge, and I look at the bumper, and it looks like mine did after it was repaired. So that's why I'm saying it's 90% sure that we saw our Model S for the first time in 5 years. Uh, the reason I chose the picture for the show wasn't because of that incident. I chose the picture for the show because it was the 5-year anniversary of us picking up the Model X from Tesla. And as you know, either I specifically go out and take a picture, or I find one that has some kind of relevance with either what we're going to discuss or something that's happened. And so the coincidences of that were quite fun. And then coming back from where we were going, we saw a red Volt. Probably not our red Volt. There were plenty of red Volts, and that was just kind of like that was really cool. All right, so let's get into our shorter show for the day. Uh, how's everybody else's week been? Pop it in the chat. All right, how am I gonna do this? I need it to not be on the same screen that we're on, so I can look you guys in the eye, sort of. All right, so I've got Tesserati on my screen. I want to open a couple of their tabs before we go. Get started. Uh, Oh, that's interesting. I'm gonna try to avoid the union stories for now, just because the way they're all framed can only get me into trouble. uh, a lot of pro and anti-union, but like none of them are really just the facts, man. Let's see. Oh, interesting. All right, we'll take a look at that. That's from Tesserati about the Model Y. And okay, so yeah, I'm glad I opened Tesserati before we got started. Uh, all right, I think that's enough for today. Like I said, it's gonna be a shorter show, not for any particular reason, just because I didn't read any articles this week that were like, let me put this in the notes. So the notes were empty. Robert says he's having fun backing up 124 gigabytes of video. I feel you, brother. I am moving 24 terabytes of data from from one volume to another, so I can do some maintenance on the NAS. And that's not even all of it. That's just the current operation. I didn't want to make the server mad at me. Oh man. All right. So she turned the fan to like demo mode. That's like I feel it going, but it's not doing anything for me here. There we go. And let's see. We're going to start with, well, let's start with the Tesla just because it's on top. All right, we will close this tab, and then we will find the share button. Share this tab instead. Screen. There we go. All right, so this one says Tesla Cybertruck acceleration shines in recent sighting. I haven't read it, but let's take a look at this X video. All right, so this has probably got music in it. Let's watch on X, because then I can make it bigger. And I need to share this tab instead. And mute that, make that bigger. Start over. Here we go. Okay. I like this latest brake light assembly here. You get the large brake light like they've had on all their vehicles since the S. Nice bright stoplights on the sides. The only thing I don't like, and I don't know if they're ever going to fix it, at least not in the States, is they don't have amber turn signals. Um, I don't like non-amber turn signals. Sorry, it's an American thing, and I mean not an American that I don't like, but it's an American thing that we do this crap, and they'll continue as long as it's legal. Boogie boogie. So, all right, so John's not in FSD here. He's not going particularly fast. Cybertruck was hauling. Pretty cool stuff. All right, so now let's go back to the article. Share this tab instead. Close the tweet. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, let's see what the comments say on this. Um, all right, all the grip in the world fast. Yeah, it's got big tires, so it should be able to get some grip. All right, let's see. Uh, Robert lost another 6 terabyte drive in the surge spike. Ouch. Yeah, we just got a whole house surge protector a couple months ago, and electrician put it in. It was very inexpensive. I'm surprised at some of the prices I've seen people charge for these things. Um, Eddie says, I understand that there's more Cybertruck sightings, but it's still a concept vehicle to me. We'll see at the end of the month or so, Eddie. I bet you at that point you might find a couple of them roaming your streets, like non master candidate, release candidate, all that stuff. Cross his fingers, knocks on wood, because it's been a couple of years yet, but it's just a matter of time at this point. All right, so next article we pulled out of Teslarati this morning, and this is interesting to me. Hopefully, it's not all pure speculation. Let's take a look. They say that Tesla has rolled out a Model Y update with ambient lights and new wheels in China. So, this could be Project Juniper, which is the same as Project Highland, but for the Model Y instead of the Model 3. It could be something in between, just so that Tesla doesn't lose any sales on Model Y. The reason I say that is while Model 3 is a great seller, Model Y is their best seller. And in fact, in some markets, it's the best selling car in that market. And because it's getting the updates after the Model 3, which is not yet on sale in the US, the Model 3 in the US is still the um, same Model 3 we had from 2017 with all the cumulative changes they've done, but not the new one with the new face and the new tweaks to the interior. So what you might see is some folks that do not mind the stockless setup and do want some of the other features, they might hold off on their Model Y purchase to get the new Model Y. And because of that, you kind of don't want the Model Y to lag so far behind the Model 3 as you did with the older cars. So they got the updates like the Model S. Took a long time to get some stuff that the Model 3 had. And uh, also, well, last time the Model S got updated, the Model X did too. But like when the Model X came out, it took a little bit before the Model S came to match the Model X as far as styling and little tweaks. But the Model X customer and the Model S customer were different demographics, so you could kind of walk that in as your parts were ready. But with the Model Y being more popular than the Model 3, you don't want that hanging out too long, lest you Osborne yourself or have to keep giving away discounts. Yeah, they're still profitable, but if they can sell them at a normal price instead of a discounted price, they can make more profits. So, some of the things they're talking about are ambient lights. Here we see, it looks like, I don't think this is a photo. This looks like somebody kind of drew it in, when I say drew it, like put it in like Photoshop or something, because that would be in the middle of an inlay, and that would require a new part. And I don't see Tesla making a new part when they could just, because remember the Model S, sorry, the Model 3 and the Model Y are like 70% the same parts. So this looks like a credit Tesla China. That looks like somebody's fan rendering right here, basically. So let's see. A minor update to the Model Y in China features a number of small but notable changes to its exterior and interior, allowing Tesla China to start the fourth quarter on a strong note. Okay, so here we can see the configurator photos. Rolled out an update to the configurator. It can be seen in the vehicle's order page. Model Y from Giga Shanghai now features a slightly faster 0 to 100 kilometers of 5.9 seconds. Base Gemini wheels are now painted black. Yeah, that looks better to me than the dark gray and the silver. That was a weird choice to me. Let's see. Oh no, that wasn't a render. That is legit, and they kept the stocks. Interesting. So they're not yet at Project Juniper, but it is some sort of in between situation. Let's see. Now features ambient lighting in the form of an LED strip, but it's only on the dash, whereas on Highland and Cybertruck it goes around all the doors as well. Ambient lighting in the form of an LED strip. The iconic wood trim on the black interior Model Y dash has also been replaced. And the price of the Model Y in China, base Model Y in China, remains at 36 100 US equivalent. Interesting. Should be noted, this is not the highly anticipated Project Juniper. Yeah, it's clear. It looks like the regular Model Y with a strip in the dash, and that the wood is a different color. If it's even still wood, it could be fabric or anything at this point. I can't zoom in all that well, and I don't feel like going to Tesla China website to figure it out. Let's see. But slightly faster is interesting. That could be a software tweak. It could be something with the battery or the battery firmware. Let's see what the comments say on this. Um, let's see. Robert asked, "Did I see the link with the car crash because the brake lights happen here?" I didn't see that one yet. I did see that your cat has returned home, and I'm glad to see that. Always nice to have the whole family together. Um, like I said, a lot going on in the day to day, and then got the baby, so I haven't been keeping up on my notifications. Plus, something happened in the way Samsung does my notifications on Android. Like all the stuff I want to see is like scrolls and scrolls down, and then they move, and the stuff that I'm not that interested in, like hey, um, what would they say? Something not quite useful. Somebody in the neighborhood group complaining about kids walking across their lawn, or uh, weather in a city that I'm not in. Those seem to get priority for some reason, rather than stuff that like people I interact with, or something like, "Hey, your burglar alarm is going off," way down the page. All right, let's see. Apparently, also an increase in range. That is cool. Um, Especially considering that if they didn't change the body like they did with the Model 3, there's only so many ways to get more range, aside from a new test. We'll find out soon enough when people get their hands on it. Model Y Juniper is going to be a winner for sure. All they have to do is add 4680 cells and I'm in. Well, if you get an Austin car, well, not anymore, but if you had got an Austin car in the past, you could have had the 4680s. Right now, the Model Ys from Austin, the GigaCast structural battery packs are currently on hold. Is the actual wheel black or just a new cover? Well, even so, black and gray would go better than light silver and dark gray. I mean, just curb my Model Y again. It's so hard. Third-party wheel cover cracked and came off because it wasn't rimmed to the curb. Yeah, I don't understand why so many Teslas have curved wheels. I'm just not seeing it. Although I'm also the same person who managed to fender the Model S. The I'm sure I've told the story before, but first 3 days with the Model S, I went to a local hotel that had a Tesla charging station and like destination charger, and only the Model S was out at the time, so I didn't think that they would have made a parking spot that didn't actually fit the car and put a charger on it. And the car was beeping and warning me about the wall, and I was not going to hit the wall. But there was a little Nissan that was parked a little too far to my side of the parking spot, but still on their side of the line. And I backed the Model S in there, and it's beeping away, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not going to hit the wall." And then I felt an impact, and yeah, I traded paint with a what appeared to be a rental Altima, not Altima, smaller Sentra, and I left my note, left my insurance card, a copy of my insurance card, everything, and nobody called. Here we go, 5 years later. Oh well, and well, more than 5 years because we've had the X for exactly 5 years. Um, yeah, yeah, so got that fixed when we got the bumper fixed. They're like, "Hey, there's this little spot here. If you give us $100, we can just kind of come around the side there and fix it." And they did. It looked great because you can't charge that to the insurance company because it was not part of the being rammed by the truck. A- and yeah, it came out clean. But again, that was only because I didn't know that they would have made a spot that couldn't actually hold their car. Hard lesson to learn, but nobody was hurt, and just my pride. Not to say I haven't run over a curb with my Model X. Just a case of like fatigue and low sugar, forgetting how far in the curb was at a new place or something. Run it over, but that's not the same thing as scraping it along the curb and just up and over. American SUV. Done that what 2 times, maybe three. Not proud of that either, but hey, it happens. I think I did it once or twice with a real pickup truck too. Smaller ones. Yeah. Anyway, Tesla hasn't even officially mentioned the Model 3 redo. They have they had events and everything for it, but it's not here in North America, not in the States, not in Canada, not in Mexico. So if that's what you're saying, then yeah, they haven't mentioned that, but they're not on sale here yet. If most of the updates start showing up in the Model Y day to day, week to week, they share a lot of parts, 50 more than 50%. uh, oh, I see. You're saying 50% of Model Y of Model 3 was replaced. We'll see. China's a manufacturing juggernaut. I can see that. The gig in Shanghai is incredible. Let's see. Robert said he sent it again now. All right, so I'll take a look after the show or during the show. Let me see where you sent it. Did you send it to Messenger? You did. Okay, so let me take a look. Uh, so I have to join a group. Let's see if I can see it without joining the group. Wow, it's taking its time to load, but at least, oh no, it's the stream is interrupted there. That's not good. All right, so I've hit my tab limit, obviously. Come on, computer, bring us back now. All right, it says excellent connection. Let's go back to live and um, let's see. Oh, It brought me to the group rather than to the post. Yeah. It didn't bring me straight there. It brought me to the group. Robert. So let me see if I can't zoom around the post and see if I see a bunch of cars crashed. Yeah, no, that's just the group itself. All right, back to what you guys are looking at. And let's switch tabs to show this instead. This one is actually pretty cool. For those of you that have been buying recent model anythings, you might have seen where your car needs an update before you could use FSD. And now, with the firmware that comes on your car still needs an update when you get it, but um, they tend to like do them in batches. Like they'll run the cars from the factory on an older build that they know works, and then eventually they'll upgrade those batches in groups. And up until now, none of those factory firmwares could do FSD out of the box. You could push the button to join the beta, but that was that was it. Another cool thing about this is you have a lot of folks just whining, complaining online about cars without ultrasonic sensors not having full FSD. Well, solved because now it's got FSD from the factory. If you buy the option, obviously. If you don't buy the option, then the software won't let you start it up. Buy or rent. If you could go into your app and then rent for either 199 or 299 a month, I believe. I think it's 99 and 199. Either way, um, depending on if you have enhanced autopilot or nothing, the free autopilot, uh, you pay the appropriate monthly fee, and then you can turn it on. That's pretty cool. Da, da, da. I just received word today that Tesla is. Oh, sorry, I just received word that Tesla is delivering cars with FSD installed out of the box. Yay! And he's usually right about these sorts of things. Transfer from a different vehicle, so it effectively switched on without having to wait. That's cool. Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. So now instead of buying an app for $12,000, you're paying an unlock for an app you already have. This is true. All right, let's not get into these arguments. Let's go on to the next one. All right. So a lot of the people I watch on YouTube have a one wheel. I haven't seen but two or three of them in real life, but if you or somebody you know rides a one wheel, they're all open to a recall right now. There's another one I need to look up. Hyundai or Hyundai Kia. I think it's Hyundai Kia. Also has a recall on their fossil cars. I'll look that up and send that tell you guys about it. But first, let's find out what's going on with the one wheel. It's electric skateboard, technically. All right, so riders have reported the one wheel can cut out when the speed limit is reached or otherwise exhibited problems that results in riders being uh, tossed, flung from the board as the Consumer Protection Safety, what's the C? Consumer Product Safety Commission explained. The skateboards can stop balancing the rider if the board's limits are exceeded, posing a crash hazard that can result in serious injury or death. Yes, this is true. And I hadn't heard about this in a little while. I figured that they'd solved it on at least the new ones or done an update, but I guess not. The nosedive accident, which can occur when the motor can't provide sufficient power or speed to balance a rider's forward lean, can prove extremely dangerous. The fact that the CPSC claims in the recall announcement that there have been 4 deaths of one-wheel riders in the last few years from head trauma, and that at least 3 of those were of riders not wearing helmets. Yeah, you're supposed to wear a helmet on these things. Head trauma is not pretty. Even if you don't wear pads, you should be wearing a helmet. Last year, Future Motion, which is the maker of the wheel, rejected the CPSC's demand for recall, but now appears to have relented. The company indicates that all models of one wheel sold between 2014 and 2023 are subject to recall. Top comment is I owned a pint. Okay, owned a pint. Is that a model number or is that slang? It dumped me on my face in the winter because it thought the battery was too low. The battery had supplied only one third of its rated capacity. Oh, I'd be pissed. Uh, as in upset, angry. Just because if a pint is slang I don't recognize, then pissed might mean drunk. An auditory or haptic warning is a safety feature that has been missing from this device and is a worthy addition. Okay, so I guess that's the solution. It would have been useful, or it would be useful to have separate signals for overspeed versus battery versus over torque. Yes. All right. According to the announcement, consumers should immediately stop using their recalled one-wheel electric skateboards. Consumers with the one-wheel GT, one-wheel Pint. Okay, so the Pint is the model number. Pint X, or one-wheel Pint, or one-wheel Plus XR skateboards should download or update the one-wheel app and use the app to update the firmware on their board to include haptic buzz alert functionality. Haptic buzz is a tactile and audible warning system that provides the rider with a buzzing sensation and sound when nearing the limits of the board or when in low battery or error states. The firmware update for the One Wheel GT will be available within 1 week. With the firmware update for the Pint X, the Pint, and the XR launching within 6 weeks. My goodness. You would think if it took them a year to finally comply with the recall request, they would have had more than one firmware already ready to go. And with it just being a firmware update over the air, like you don't even have to bring it into your one wheel dealer to get the update. But they wouldn't have fought this thing so hard, especially since clearly they've got the hardware to do it. Uh, I'm going to move on before I get into another rant about safety, like I do about the cheap cars not having all the safety features or all the reasonable safety features of the expensive cars. Hmm. It's been a busy summer for recalls, the micromobility space, bicycles recalled one. Let's see. I don't even think the suggested fix is enough. When you design a project like this, you need a safe failure mode because these are direct drive and mechanical failure mode is not possible. This can be fixed with a small gearbox that just goes when the power cuts out. Um, they're electric motors, not gas. So as long as if they're permanent magnet, that would depend on how it locks the rotor up. But if it's an AC motor, then that's really easy. I don't think you need to add gears. That would actually make it less safe. If a hypothetical gearbox were to allow the board to coast upon power loss, the front would nosedive anyway. What I assume you're proposing would be similar to a one-way clutch. A device like this would ruin the ability of the board to self-balance as the motor needs to be able to exert torque in both directions to do so. One should just copy whatever safety features the Segway has and call it good. All right, so now let's look up Hyundai. Uh, I know some of you still drive gas, and that's fine. Don't need to wreck your finances jumping out to go get a EV or hybrid or plug-in. Um, or you might have some in your family, or it might be the extra car. So, with it being this big and random fires, what actually caught me on this one was um, when it was announced. They're like, "Hey, if you have a Hyundai or Kia, you should park it outside and not next to a building." And I was like, "Oh boy, here we go again." And then they didn't say that they were battery cars. They said that they were fossils. I was like, just like the BMW situation in Asia. Let's see. Detroit, nearly 3.4 million Hyundai and Kia vehicles in the US are under recall due to the risk of engine compartment fires, and it's important for the drivers to check if their car is one of them. Uh, Both the companies and federal regulators are warning owners of the recalled vehicles to park them outdoors until repairs are made. Mail notifications about the recalls won't begin until November. Yeah, that part, the place I first heard it, she made a sarcastic remark about waiting over a month because this was in September when I heard it. The end of September, obviously. Uh, Waiting over a month to get the notices out. Um, but owners can check right now to see if their vehicle's on the list, which covers multiple car and SUV models from model year 2010 to 2019. And they're being recalled because an anti-lock brake control module located in recalled vehicles can leak fluid and cause an electrical short, which can touch off. Who wrote this article? It's an interesting phrasing there. The AP wrote that. Okay. Can touch off a fire, whether the cars have been driven or are being parked. Whether the cars are being driven or parked. And that was the part that got me, and the lady who announced this when I heard it the first time is I think she said, "Oh, great! So it can just catch fire anytime." And this is true. But obviously, if you're driving it and you smell smoke or something, then you can kind of sort of deal with it, hopefully quickly. But if it's parked and it's in your garage and you're asleep, that's not so good. Um, not that I think it's okay that you can be driving it and it's still be an issue either. They didn't do like Mercedes did on their brake failure and say stop driving it and we'll do something for you. They just said we'll notify you in November. So Hyundai's already reported 21 fires in the U.S. and another 22 thermal incidents, which means the car burnt down anyway or melted, including smoke, burning, and melting of parts, according to government documents. No crashes or injuries have been reported by the companies as of Wednesday. Mhm. So affected models are the 2010 to 2019 Borrego, 2014 to 2016 Cadenza, 2010 to 2013 Forte. So they fixed it on this car. Interesting. Uh, the Forte Coupe and Sportage. The 2015 to 2018 K900, the 2011 to 2015 Optima, the 2011 to 2013 Optima Hybrid and Soul, and the 2012 2017 Rio, the 2011 to 2014 Sorrento, and the 2010 to 2011 Rondo. That's a lot of cars. Hyundai models covered by the recall include the 2011. They're going to be basically the Hyundai versions of the same cars. The Elantra, Genesis Coupe, Sonata Hybrid, Accent, Azera, Veloster. I don't think there's a Kia version of the Veloster. Elantra Coupe, Santa Fe, and the Equus. The Veracruz, the Tucson fuel cell. Oh, that's right, they did make those. Wow, no discrimination. The fuel cell catches fire too, and now you're looking at a hydrogen fire potentially because wow, and hydrogen fires burn mostly invisible except at night. Like during the bright daylight, it's really hard to see what's going on. And the 2013 Santa Fe Sport. You can go to nhtsa.gov/recalls as well as Kia and Hyundai's websites and use your vehicle identification number to find out if your car is a part of the recall. And if it's anything like we've seen these kind of recalls in the past, they could later expand it. So keep an ear out for more happening later. Dealers will replace the anti-lock brake fuse at no cost to the owners, and Kia says in documents it will send notification letters starting November 14th, so well over a month. Hyundai says they will begin theirs in November 21st. Other lingering concerns. Michael Brooks, our executive director of the nonprofit Center for Auto Safety, questioned whether the companies aren't fixing the leak, or why companies aren't fixing the leak problem, and why they waited so long to send letters to their owners. That is a great question. If the thing is leaking flammable fluid and you're just replacing fuses, that's not very environmentally friendly. And what's to say that something else can't catch the brake fluid on fire? brake fluid isn't something you leave on the ground on purpose. It's you get a fine for that. The remedy is replacing one fuse with another, but brake fluid can still leak, potentially causing a safety problem. Uh, Brooks also questioned why the NHTSA is allowing companies to only replace a fuse and why owners aren't being sent interim letters immediately warning them of a serious problem. Like, hey, don't park your fireball in your garage. Hey, hope you listen to the news. Uh, in response to a question from the AP, Hyundai said the statement late Thursday that dealers will inspect the ABS module and replace it with a new one if necessary. So that sounds like they're trying to save a lot of money by only replacing the ones with visible leakage. But it doesn't, that's not what it says in the recall above. Otherwise, Mr. Brooks wouldn't be complaining about that. Hyundai also said it's looking at other ways to communicate with customers faster. Kia didn't answer any questions about brake fluid leaks or why it would take until November to notify the owners. NHTSA said that under Federal Motor Vehicles Safety Act, automakers can choose the remedy to fix the defect. The agency said it will monitor effectiveness of the repairs and open an investigation if warranted. Again, though, you've only stopped the cars from catching fire. You haven't stopped them from being an environmental hazard. I mean, more than just their regular operation that was already approved by the government. Smog and carbon monoxide, all that stuff coming out the backside. Um, what are the track records of Hyundai and Kia? They've been plagued with fire problems since 2015. The Center for Auto Safety successfully petitioned the U.S. regulators to seek recalls in 2018. And on its website says the automakers have recalled more than 9.2 million vehicles for fires and engine problems, not including those recalls announced Wednesday, not including the or also probably including their electric and hybrid plugins that were randomly catching fire thanks to faulty quality control at LG. In addition, the NHTSA is investigating 3 million vehicle fires by automakers from 2011 to 2016 model years. They say they've received 161 complaints of engine fires, some of which have occurred in vehicles that have already been recalled. So they've been fixed and they still caught fire. Sounds like the LG incident across multiple manufacturers, doesn't it? In 2018, NHTSA said it received owner complaints of more than 3,100 fires, 103 injuries, and 1 death. All right, don't play around with this part right here. The injuries and death. Okay, the property damage is bad enough, but you can't replace the people. Hyundai and Kia were fined by the NHTSA in 2020 for moving too slowly to recall vehicles that were prone to engine failures. Failures, not fires. So if you're too slowly for that, you think over a month is okay about fire risk? Oh boy. All right. Ooh, the MSN comments can get kind of spicy. Let's see. Oh, so start the conversation. Let's leave that be then. All right, let's see. Robert says he did a screenshot. Let's take a look. 20 is not plenty. Stop the speed reductions group. Bring this over here where I can see it. And go back to you guys. And then we'll do a second screen share. And we'll share a window. Find Robert's chat. This one. And it moved. I don't know what's sharing. Let me go back. Oh, it is sharing the right thing. Okay. So make it bigger again. And then bring you guys back. Oh boy. Apple is trying to help me keep my Windows in check, which I don't need help, Apple. You're doing it wrong. All right, so 20 is not plenty. And so Robert's saying that something about brake lights caused this pileup? Must have been watching the Speedo this afternoon. Interesting. All right, so we're gonna switch back to the web share. Close this window. And oh yeah, we were going to the next thing. Robert said, safety belt recall 2. A woman drove to dealer. They had to cut the belt so she could get out. Yikes. The good thing about seatbelts is that they're kind of a lifetime item for safety recalls and such. So you don't have to worry about how many miles you have, how old the car is. They just had to fix it. It's pretty cool. All right. So on the next article, we've got share this tab instead. Close the old one. It might have closed. I don't know. Tesla quietly held installer day amid move to rely on more third-party installers. So we talked about this on a previous show where oh, okay, that's better. Over on the monitor screen, it showed that I was not showing the right article, but it was delayed. So we talked about how Tesla decided they were going to rely more on local installers instead of doing their own thing with Tesla Solar for getting the panels or solar roofs on your house. And apparently they were prepared for this. They quietly had an installer day. Over the last year, ever since Tesla acquired Solar City in 2016 and turned its own solar division, there were many ups and downs, but mostly downs. Yeah, that's accurate. So tell us about the meeting. Last month, we reported on Tesla laying off employees related to planning and installing solar. Yes. To keep up the trend, we now learned that Tesla held its first installer day over the last few years. Tell us about installer day. You got all this build up the story. It doesn't matter for this. The inaugural installer day was attended by some of the most inspired, passionate, and influential minds. It's always great to come together. The key takeaway is this: the technology is going to change the world. He shared a few pictures of the event. That looks really cool. All right, so Tesla Gateway, Energy Gateway, Gen 3 wall charger, wall connector, Powerwall 2. Apparently a video from Tesla Installer Day in Sydney. Cool stuff. A logical move for a company the size of Tesla, their cost, complexity, and overheads managing what amounts to thousands of local electrical projects with thousands of jurisdictions involved and the permitting issues was never going to work. It could work, but it's not compatible with the rest of the business. Just sell the products and let local installers do it and wash your hands of it. Plus, they'll get better customer service. What I'm doing now is I don't feel right, so I'm checking my sugar. All right, so I will have peanut butter cookies. If I can even get into them. All right, there we go. It's a point they could franchise like McDonald's, but they're already not franchising with dealers, so I can see them not looking into that opportunity. So Barry Glib says this was not the first installer in San Jose. What's going on, Patrick?
Hello, how you doing?
Yeah, doing all right.
Cool.
So what do you think? Go ahead.
What's our current topic?
Well, you're talking about what was billed as Tesla's first energy installer day, with them
cool.
relying more on third-party installers, and then Barry Glib in the comments said that this is not the first. They had one in San Jose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've been using third-party installers for a long time, so it's not surprising that they've met with them before. And
Mhm.
ramping that up, scaling it up is only going to help get more of it out there. So this is great.
Yeah, and I was mentioning that somebody else in the comments had said, "Why not use franchises?" And I suggested that perhaps with their problems with the franchise dealers, it just never occurred to them, or they didn't want to risk opening a can of worms with that.
Exactly. Yeah, I could see how that's a path that's led to poor places before. Why would you want to do that again?
Yes, and then I also suggested that this could be a great thing for customer service satisfaction.
Oh, yes,
You've
absolutely.
interacted with them.
Yes, yes. I mean that we talked about that on uh, a couple of the different shows, but on the Tesla Life. So this summer, I went through having my solar panels removed and reinstalled, and we had Tesla and non-Tesla. I have two systems up on the roof, and the non-Tesla job just went so much better because it was a local person, and I could just call them. They could come to my house. We could chat. And with Tesla, everything was through the app and impersonal, and it took twice as long. And so the Tesla panels took like an extra month before they got put on. And then there were problems with the install, and they just disappeared. And then I couldn't get hold of them, and it was a pain. And yeah, so I could see how using local installers, having this broad network, could lead to a much better experience. It's certainly not guaranteed, but if you
No.
have Tesla backing somebody else, then
Yes.
if that other person flakes out, you've got Tesla to fall back on, and so you kind of have two bites at the apple there, which is a lot better for the customer.
I agree. Yeah, because like you say, hey Tesla, you sent Jimbo to me, and he totally disappeared. I've got holes in my roof, but no panels. Oh, okay, we're gonna send Bobby Sue out and then finish you up.
Exactly. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
It's more
Or
like
if
they're a
either of them goes
general
out of business.
contractor.
Yeah, exactly. Or if either of them goes out of business and you need warranty work, so somebody backing that warranty can pay the third installer to take care of you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or like in your case with you had a question about the grounding strap, and then they just kind of cut it
Yes.
and left rather than explaining to
Hmm.
you that, oh, it's no longer code.
Right. Right.
You had to chase them down. Like, what's up with my system?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Ground seems kind of important for electrical stuff. I'm just saying.
Because just like we talked
You-
about in our last story, fire is not something you want to mess with.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Yeah.
so in the last story, we heard word from Hyundai and Kia about. All right, so tell me if you think where where this is going. All right, please park your vehicle outside. Uh, whether you drive it or not, it may self-immolate.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
yeah. A friend of mine has a Chrysler Pacifica plug-in hybrid, and
yep,
they soon after they got it, they got this notice saying, "Don't charge it, don't park it in your garage," and then that went on for I don't know, like a year, and
yeah, at
that
least.
is just not a good look. I mean,
No,
yeah, that's not give plug-in cars a good name when you're saying don't park them in your garage.
right.
Uh,
Well, so imagine my surprise when I found out these were just regular old combustion cars, a fuel cell, and some plug-in hybrids and some hybrids.
oh wow.
So in this case, it was their ABS module is allowed to leak fluid, and brake fluid is flammable.
Mm, hmm.
Whoosh. So their solution is we found out about this at the end of September, so like the 27th to the 29th. And so Kia is going to let you know on the 16th of November about this recall. Hyundai is going to let you know on the 21st of November about this recall.
Huh.
Over 3 point something million cars.
Yeah, you'd think that this is not new technology. Brake
Right.
fluid. I mean, come on. How come they haven't solved this by now?
Right. We had brake
Oh
fluid
well.
before we had drum brakes.
Yeah, exactly.
um,
Ridiculous.
and the solution for them is that they're going to replace the fuse. And Michael Brooks of the CPSC or of NHTSA, I forget already, he pointed out something that was very concerning to me. He said that they're not going to address the leaks. They're just changing the fuse. So this gives you two major problems right here. One, you need brake fluid to stop the car.
Hmm.
Two, brake fluid is not environmentally friendly to just be leaving on the ground.
Yeah.
I was flabbergasted.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Robert says, can't wait to see more electric brake systems. Yes, that, and also regeneration and recuperation, which I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, look at how many Teslas get to well over 100,000 miles before they need brake jobs. And not just Teslas, but any other vehicle that has one pedal driving or does a
Mm-hmm.
really good job of brake blending, where like the first half or quarter of the pedal is regen. The ones
Mm-hmm.
that kind of mix it in right away and don't have one pedal driving, because Tesla, if you touch the brakes, you're friction, but they've got good one pedal driving. So
Right.
anyone that's not those two, you burn not as much as a regular car, but you still burn through some brakes because they're applying unnecessarily.
Yes. Yeah. So it's fall's starting. It's October 1st, and around here we don't get a lot of rain in the summer, in July,
Yeah.
August, September, and then so there's cars that are leaking various fluids and that dry on the roads. And now when the rains start, all of a sudden, if you change lanes, you might be going through some slippery stuff, and
Ooh.
in a few weeks that'll kind of wash away. But now you're all that oil, whatever else is being washed into the sewer system, which then eventually goes out to our environment. And yeah, I can't wait to the time that's just everyone's like not doing that, and we're like, why were we ever using this stuff? This is ridiculous. That was so dumb for 100 years.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, when I got back to this house, there was a nice little oil piddle in the not like enough that I had to clean it up, but like I hadn't had any cars that could drip anything in it in years, and so it was just
Right.
spotless.
Right. Yeah. When our group in the summer, we used to rent out. It's called Pioneer Courthouse Square. Anyway, it's this large brick area, and we'd put our cars out there. And whenever they had car shows, they were like, "Oh, we require drip pans and oil pans under the car, and these are electric cars."
Yeah.
What? and so yeah, we got that requirement waived.
Nice.
Which yeah.
Yeah. The fuel cell car, that was interesting to me that they just, I mean, I guess it's a low volume. Why not just use something that already works? But why not use something from your electric cars, since none of them were on that particular recall?
Yeah.
I mean, it is an electric car through and
Mm-hmm.
through. Oh, thank you. I got
Yeah.
veggie pups.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you. Let's put this over here, and we'll put this one over. Oh, and this one over here. Okay.
I find it hard to believe that auto companies are still investing in fuel cells. It's as a personal transportation solution, it's a horrible idea. And
Right.
how long have they been putting R&D money into it? And what have they got back for that? Nothing. You
Right.
could put that money into EVs today and actually have a product in a couple of years, or
Right.
improve the
Yeah, same
products
thing
you
I said
have
about
now.
yeah, same thing I said about how Toyota couldn't keep the wheels on the BZ4X. You've been making cars
Yeah.
for nearly 100 years, and you can't. The basic item is keep the wheels on. You can't do that.
Yes.
They did have an excuse that these were a new attachment mechanism. They had the instead of a female tool, you had a male tool. As the tool went into the nut instead of around the nut. But you've been making cars for almost 100 years. You should know how to keep the wheels on, and if you've got a new nut, you should know to run it through all of the tests. Just saying.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That we often hear that for as soon as the big automakers get into electric, Tesla's doomed. Well,
Right.
maybe not. Maybe they've got a few things to figure out too,
We
and maybe they're
got a
behind
fun
on that.
article on that today. You're gonna love the
Yeah.
chart.
Oh, cool.
But it says drinking water. Yes, I am drinking water. Trying to cut down on the artificial sweeteners. I've got a new medication that it's not saying not interacting poorly, but trying out to see if this makes it any more comfortable by not having artificial sweeteners along with the medication.
Yeah, it's pretty. I know that's not our topic here, but artificial sweeteners, some of them, your body reacts to them as if they were natural sweeteners, and it causes a lot of the same problems, even though it's chemically different. It's
Exactly.
it's interesting. It's
Or worse,
oh,
your body realizes it's fake and then asks for more calories.
yeah, yeah. Either one of those, if you can just avoid it, is better, I think.
Exactly. And so he says that's what happens when folks get too busy. I'm assuming that's regarding the not being able to do basic stuff that they've been doing for hundreds of years. And yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
I was saying that all car flues end up drinking water. Oh, in drinking water. Yeah, that's not good. And
Yeah.
and especially in like a place like yours where it is kind of known for being lush and green, that can very easily end up in the watershed. And the wheels come off the busy forks.
Mm.
Yes. All right, so this is one that we touched on several times across various shows. I feel you, Patrick. It's hard to keep track of where and when we talked about stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we mentioned that this facility was going to be opening up, and it's going to have 40 spots and solar charging and a nice service center, like not service center, but like place to sit and wait while you charge in Santa Ana. Well, now they've broken ground. So
Nice.
soon, I say soon. Before you realize it, it'll be open and you can be charging there. I took back my soon because we don't know if they're using whoever Tesla uses for contractors to just rip stuff up and get it done. This looks pretty. I mean, that looks like it'll be
Yeah.
fun. Similar to we've seen the ones in the UK and elsewhere in Europe where they just have a nice. You can get out, stretch your legs, go to the bathroom, get a bite to eat, and it's like multi-manufacturer.
Yeah.
Like
So
that.
what are they going to have for amenities here? We looked at that one that had a pool.
Oh, the pool, yeah.
Stop for a charge, have a swim.
Only in Germany. All right, so 40 DC chargers at speeds of up to 350 kilowatts with
Cool.
compatibility for every EV, NACS, CCS, and even a few CHAdeMO plugs.
Nice.
Good to see if you have a Leaf, you're not getting left out.
Hmm.
Recharged by Gleason's, a 5,000 square foot market with meals and coffee. See, that's a good idea right there. You just sell somebody the anchor rights
Hmm.
as a franchise for like 5-10 years and give them marks for customer satisfaction, cleanliness.
I like the way they're the double entendre of recharge for you and
Yeah,
your car. You get
exactly.
coffee, it gets electrons.
Exactly. 24/7 indoor lounge with clean restaurants. Oh, restroom, sorry. And better be clean
So the
restaurants.
restaurants are clean too.
Outdoor seating and Wi-Fi. See, that's important to me right now because
Hmm.
I'm still masking and getting the shots and everything. And if I can
Hmm.
just avoid crowds uh, indoors, I tend to do that. But um, I don't mind meeting people and eating outside right now. It's obviously going to suck in the wintertime, but
Yep.
you can't eat with a mask on. and
Right.
it's not that I'm like fearful or anything. It's that I had a bad experience. I had my resting heart rate was like over 125 laying down in bed, and I'm not willing to go through that again if I can help it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, Fenced areas so owners' dogs can get a little exercise at some locations. That's pretty cool too. I've seen good and bad implementations of a little dog park. Not to say park, but like you let them do their business, socialize, and clean up after them. Eco-friendly car wash that reclaims more than 80% of the water used at some locations. Hopefully, they
Awesome.
have a little switch so you can turn the brushes off for the Teslas. Because I like the idea of a touchless wash. As you guys have seen, I've got that weird little license plate hanging out front, so that's another reason I can't deal with the wash. So I've got a Tesla, I've got a wrap, and I've got that license plate hanging out front. So it has to be touchless.
Sounds like you should just wash your car yourself, Casey, if you're that
Literally.
picky.
Driving along, hey, so you know why I pulled you over? You only got one plate of two. Oh, I must have been in the car wash. I'm sorry. I'll order another one.
Yeah.
Even this
I
mic
did
is
get pulled over in my Chevy S10 electric. It had the flip down front plate, and the charge port was behind the license plate.
flip
And
down, stay down.
yeah, so yeah,
Oh,
when I pulled the charging paddle out one time, I guess I forgot to kick the license plate up, and the officer didn't believe me. He sat at the door and he says, "You don't have a front license plate," and I said, "Oh, I do. It's there." And he said, "No, sir, you don't." And I'm like, "Just let me show you." And I got out and showed him. But yeah, he was like, "What? I've never seen that before." Okay, yeah, there were some cars in like the 1940s that had their gas
Went
tank
down in the
behind
back,
there,
yeah.
but yeah, he wasn't that old, I guess.
Yeah. My grandma had a couple cars like that when I was a kid,
Hmm.
and after a while, long after she got rid of the cars, I'm like, man, that was a terrible idea. What if you get rear-ended?
Yeah.
Swoosh.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so there's the groundbreaking ceremony.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you said these guys are in the UK. Rove already has some installs
Oh,
there.
and I'm saying UK has got some compounds like this. So this one's
Oh,
in
okay.
what did I say in
Santa Ana, I think you said.
Santa Ana, yeah.
But yeah, but I've never heard of Rove before. I don't, so
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
think
know
it's
if they've.
Rove over in the UK and in Europe.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I thought that was pretty cool. And
Yeah.
Bennett says, I think like a 50s or 60s vet had that. Yeah, I think she had a Cop Caprice and one other. Waterless wash and wax. That's a good idea, too. Gotta make sure that the rags are clean so you're not smearing dirt all over the car.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we said bad stuff about Hyundai. Let's say some good stuff about Hyundai. The Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis EVs were spotted at Tesla Supercharger, which suggests an upcoming Max switch. And I was like, maybe. And then I saw the pictures, and I thought that this looked like a photo shoot. Like they were getting ready to make their announcement, and they didn't want to be done up by Volvo. Remember, Volvo let Tesla tweet it out, so you can't get any lower on your announcement than Volvo.
Yeah. Yeah,
Here's the
I'm worried
picture.
about 2024. So all these
Yeah.
announcements are they're going to do NACS in 2025.
Right.
So why would you buy a non-Tesla in 2024 and then
Right.
have to deal with
Look,
adapters for the whole ownership
right.
experience?
They'd have to make a significant discount for me to want to put up with an adapter for all that time, or promise
Yeah.
me that I could later buy a retrofit kit and get the native port.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I've used a lot of adapters. I have showed off my bag of
but
Gorilla
I are
charging paraphernalia, but that's not every day, right? That's when you're
Yeah.
doing a road trip and you need to be able to pull into a KOA or whatever, a marina or whatever, wherever you can find an outlet. But yeah, I wouldn't want to do that for all this. You want it to
Yeah.
just be easy, plug and go.
Exactly. All right, so I'm switching articles here. Same story. This one's over Electrek because I wanted the picture. Does that not look
Yeah,
like a photo shoot?
it does. Yes.
And I didn't plug it in because nobody has the adapter yet. Bennett says, I agree, having used the adapter with a Y. Yeah, I mean, you can do it, but like, do you want to do it every time on every stop on every road trip?
Right.
I personally don't. Again, if it was $20,000 cheaper, I could say, all right, it would cost me $2 a charge to do this in my personal frustration.
Right. Yes. If you're getting that for it, then you're like, well, at least I got a good discount every time you plug in. It kind of makes up for
Exactly. Yeah. Eddie says all these cars with the same SUV look. Yeah, we got to get the marketing departments and whoever it is who pushes the national and world sentiment. Got to get them to stop pushing SUVs, and then we can see a change. Till then, we want what they tell us to want. I always take the Works battery pressure washer used bucket. Yeah, those are pretty cool stuff too. All right, so there's the picture, and let's see if any details were actually released other than these things were seen. No. But look, every one of them is there, and all of these photos look too nice. Let's go through them all.
And these are probably just somebody who saw it taking pictures with their
Yeah.
phone, not the professional photographer who's there and going to be airbrushing everything for the next week and a half.
Exactly. Oh, look, this one's got somebody actually using the supercharger on it, and of course they're in the wrong spot because all of the Hyundai family has their charge ports on the wrong side for superchargers, which is the rear right instead of rear left.
Yeah. Why would you put it on the passenger side when it's the driver who's usually the one who has to do all the charging?
They don't even. It's not even like they have a right-hand drive over there, is it? Like I get it if it was Japan, but I think Korea is left-hand drive.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, that would make sense to me, but
Right, because you want it on the curbside when you park, if for
right,
street parking. Yeah,
right.
and in the U.S., that's the driver's side. So this makes no sense.
Yeah. Right, so that's enough of them. I told you I'd give them a good story. They're so within a couple weeks, expect me to say, "Hey, Hyundai has finally joined the Supercharger Coalition." Here's the chart that I promised that Patrick might enjoy. Uh, Tesla outsold its next 19 competitors combined in the U.S. for half one of 2023.
Wow.
Spots 2 through 19, and they still don't reach what Tesla did. And before I scroll down, I'll also say that they nearly did 10 to, or just over did 10 to 1 on number 2. So if number 1 sold 10 cars, Tesla sold 100 cars.
Yeah, that's great for Tesla. It makes me worried about the rest of the industry, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we need them all to do this, and
Yes.
they're not succeeding. And I promised I wasn't going to talk much about the strikes, but one of the things they're complaining about is having to build electric cars,
Hmm.
and how it would affect the profitability of their place they work at. And um, that is not a surprise to these places. They knew for 30 years. They showed off that, hey, we can build a 60 MPG minivan and a pickup truck that gets 40 miles per gallon. And the government said,
Hmm.
"Perfect. All right, I need this done in 30 years." And they said, okay. They agreed to it. And then at some point they said, "Oh, let's just do the bare minimum and keep going on." And so like to make the trucks bigger and bigger so they don't have to pass
Hmm.
the tests. And
Hmm.
then oh yeah, okay, so now we're 3, 4 years out. Let's pretend like the government sprung this on us. It's a massive requirement. It's a big surprise, and we're not ready. That's not how it
Yeah,
works.
yeah. Delay, delay, delay has been the tactic. It's not
Yeah,
fight it directly. It's yeah, yeah, yeah. I that's we can do that, but just give us 5 more years, and you do that for a couple decades.
yeah. We're gonna need $5 billion, and we're gonna go out of business and take the economy with us.
Yeah, I think the reason we have this headline is that exactly what you're saying here. Tesla's really the only ones that can make EVs profitably. So they're the only ones that really are highly motivated to make EVs. Where for all the legacy manufacturers, they make their money on their ICE vehicles, and their Ford announced they're going to lose $4.5 billion in their electric division because they have it split out as a separate business unit.
Mhm.
The what do they call it? The Model E division,
Yeah, the Ford
and
Model E.
yeah, and it and that's up from they had initially said they were going to lose 3 billion, and now they've raised that guidance to that we're going to lose 4.5 billion.
Oh man.
Wow, yeah, I can see why they're not interested if they're losing $30,000 on every vehicle they sell to sell
Right.
more.
Meanwhile, you've got a third-party guy interviewing with Autoline, showing how the Austin Model Y can be built by 1.5 people in about 15 minutes.
Right. I saw parts of that. Yeah. Yeah. It's so the rest of the industry is going to be buying and tearing down and looking at all of these methods. And yes, they're going to have to make it so that the car can be manufactured in less time than it does today, which and also will mean fewer workers on that line. But that doesn't mean that you don't have uh, battery cells and other things that they don't work on today. The
Right.
automakers can start doing more vertical integration, moving people from the assembly jobs they have now into other manufacturing jobs where they vertically integrate. And yeah, there is a path there. When you just say, "Oh, it doesn't take as long to build an EV, you don't need as many people," that's killing jobs. That's businesses have to evolve. You can't just have job preservation programs. They have to change what they're doing, adapt with the times, move to the new
But Patrick,
technologies.
I'm 5 years from retirement. I don't want to learn how to make something other than piston shafts. I don't want to make suspension components, something that's so similar
Right,
to shafts that I need a month of training for free.
right. Yeah, yeah. You can't just hold back time because the people on the line are not comfortable with change. Too bad.
Right. I mean, if you don't need piston shafts at all, or if you go from V8s to 4 cylinders or 3 cylinders, you don't need too many piston shafts. So
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's look at these charts because they're going to be impressive. All right. Let's see. No, this is just numbers. All right. I'm going to do it again. Go to another slide. Who was that? It's inside EVs. All right. Let's go to electric again. Let's see. They should have a nice graph. Sorry about that, guys. Inside EVs is usually the one with all the charts, so I didn't check them.
Yeah, yeah. I used to go to Inside EVs for all of my sales data when I was tracking that stuff because they had a table and a chart, so it made it really
Yes.
easy. Yeah,
And
and
they had neither. It was all
yeah,
three.
yeah. That's too bad.
Yeah,
A chart can just make something so clear
it does.
like that.
I'll forgive them for not
Boom.
having the Hyundai pictures. All right, here we go. So, like it goes off the edge of the chart.
Right, order of magnitude more than the one right below it.
Yeah. So 325,291 for Tesla, 34,943 for Chevrolet. So over 10 to 1, just barely, but over.
Right. So
And
it's
then as
primarily
the
Chevy Bolts, I assume.
yeah, they must entirely be Chevy Bolts, except for like the 3 Hummers,
Right.
and the 2 Lyrics.
That's not even
I
a
know there's
pixel
more than
wide.
that. Yeah. So as Inside EV said, you add all these red bars up, and they don't equal the green bar. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Is
Oh,
Rivian
so
on
Mary
there?
wasn't
Yep, there
wrong.
they are. Yeah.
Mary wasn't wrong. They led, but they're losing. They're losing that lead because if you you have to ignore Tesla, and then two, while they were busy not selling cars, Ford was delivering.
Mm-hmm.
Because the bar chart didn't look so nice for Ford a long time ago. That's incredible. All right, so Rivian,
Yeah.
look what Rivian did, and they're not people forgive them. They're a small company, they're a startup, and I mean just like Tesla, they're a little older than you'd think, but they've just started delivering, and look what they've already done. They have nearly surpassed Hyundai and are approaching Ford. These
Yeah. I
are
wonder
legacy.
if
Yep.
Rivian will be able to stay in this top 5 as more of the vehicles sold switch to electric. If they can, that would be a huge coup. They,
Right.
took that transition threshold and jumped on that, and inflection point is the word I was looking for. And yeah, they could really ride that to
I
becoming a
think
big
they have what
company.
it takes. They've got the supply lines built up. They are working like Tesla does to make their cars cheaper,
Hmm.
and not cheaper, but like cheaper to manufacture, easier to build, quicker to
Yeah,
build.
right.
And
Lower BOM cost.
exactly.
Yeah.
But they now have to. Um, they might need money to do this. They like extra money, like an infusion. They need to capitalize on that before folks that have sold their battery plants manage to figure out how to get batteries without owning a battery plant.
Yeah,
Not
Ford
naming
had
any
an
names.
investment in Rivian, and I think they sold it at a loss,
They
if I
did.
remember correctly.
Either at a loss
Yeah.
or right before it went up. So
Yeah, which if you've already invested the money, let it ride because it's
right.
not a short game. Why would you sell? Buy high, sell low. This is not investment advice, but I don't recommend that.
Right. Yeah, potato farm. The lyric. Some of those could have been the lyric. Yeah, some of them could have been.
Oh yeah,
Or Ness
that
is
is
going to sell a
shipping
lot for
there.
sure. Yeah. But like their dual motor, they're working on more castings. They know what it takes.
Yeah, for there was just a comment about the Rivian R1S. So it
Yeah.
came out after the R1T, and yet it's
Right.
already outsold the R1T, is my understanding.
Right.
Yeah, like
Like
you
Eddie
said.
says, they keep shoving SUVs on our throats.
Yeah, well, so we just hauled a bunch of stuff off to college, packing the kid to college, and it was nice having all that room in the Y. So
Yeah.
sometimes having that space, we were able to fit 2 bookshelves in there and a bunch of stuff, and
Right.
an office chair, packed it up, hit the road.
Yeah, I'm not saying there's no use for them, but
Yeah.
we don't need as many as we have. uh, he's right on that. All right, so Tesla places top 3 models in top 10 US EV sales. So let's see. Model Y at 200 grand. Model 3 at 100 and change. And Model X and Model S. Which, remember, the Model S and X only make 2,000 a week.
Hmm.
So come on, guys. How are you getting outsold by Tesla's afterthought?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody below the Model S there should be thinking, we're not doing this right.
Right. You shouldn't be talking about Tesla killers. You should be talking about what can we do to copy them.
Hmm. You
All
got to
right, let's
crank up
see.
the volumes or you can't get to economies of scale. And then, of course, you're going to keep losing money on it because everything's
Yeah,
bespoke. I mean, it's ridiculous.
exactly. So we've got a cute one. Honda is finally trying to get with the program. The Honda N-Van has revealed 130 miles of range with vehicle to load. You know, Japan is really big on vehicle to load, but I just when I picture it, I don't picture a lot of private parking in the places that would take an EV. Like I'm picturing like the farms and stuff. Yeah, they got it, but like when you're driving a K car, that's going to be like off-street parking or on-street parking or like the parking racks, right?
Hmm.
Now that could be a misconception from me just looking at it through pop media, but um, like the Nissan Leaf, it shipped with vehicle to load for like the home backup generator module, which was
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I agree with you. It's cool. That's a neat feature. But if they're doing this kind of stuff, it makes me wonder if they're really focused on the right things when you
No.
should be. Yeah. Yeah. You should be focused on reducing your costs, increasing your volume, and getting them delivered.
Yeah.
Not some cool after thing that, okay, if there's an emergency, that'll come in really handy.
Right. Yeah.
How does this help
I
reduce
mean,
the cost and increase the volume? Well, maybe
right.
it's a feature a couple people want. Okay, well,
Right.
those couple people, fine.
Like if it was free with the charge controller, okay, but it's probably not. That's not something they charge you good money for. And yeah, it's
Yeah,
not all that powerful like the one on the Leaf. The one on the Leaf could run your whole house. This is only 1.5 kilowatts, so you can run the fridge or a hair dryer or the fridge and the TV. But unless all your customers are asking for it, just like Patrick said, like you could invest that effort and money into making more of them entirely.
hmm,
Yeah, and again, they're starting with the K car, unless that's the popular model there. Um, we saw what happens when you try to start with the economy cars, and it's hard to get your economy to scale and get that
yes,
excitement that you get when you start with the Halo cars and push it down.
exactly. Yeah, we just talked about how it's really easy to lose money on EVs if you aren't at volume. So that means you should start at the high end where you can charge a premium, which means you have to have a compelling product, and then maybe these extra features are okay. If you, but this. Look at this. This is a fleet vehicle. It's
Yeah,
not high end.
it's either fleet or like I said, like you got the people who are apartment dwellers. Not that there's anything wrong with being an apartment dweller, but if you're looking for the cash, you want to look for the landowners, right? So I'm just saying.
Yeah, this might be fun to go camping in.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you can plug in your cooler or
cooler in
whatever.
the toaster.
Yeah.
Oh. So let's go to somebody else who's low volume, but not on purpose, and they're working on it. The Tesla Semi, right?
Yeah.
So we talked on the last couple of shows about the what did they call it? The I forget what they call it, but all these alt fuel makers were running competitions through their customers to see whose vehicles were good. So you had fuel cell, you had propane, you had natural gas, you had methane. Natural gas is methane, and then you had a bunch of electrics. And the Tesla Semi was just like setting records left and right with Pepsi. And one of them did over 1,000 miles in one day.
Yeah. And it's ironically right after someone from Nicholas was talking about how only hydrogen semis will be able to do 1,000 miles in a day, And then boom, Tesla says, hold my beer.
Exactly. While holding Pepsi.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Hold
the
my
potato chips.
sodas better.
Right. Yeah, this is the potato. This is not the potato chips. This is the full syrup and water mix. All right. So on the ring that's labeled Tesla 3 logged 1,076 miles in just one delivery. Uh, the stock got as low as 9.17% at 6:45 a.m. So they could have done some more driving. And you can see we've talked about these charts before. You can see how they mega charge, and they're charging while the trailer's getting unloaded, and
Hmm.
it's quite impressive. And I shared the link
Yeah.
in the last chat if you want to go look at their whole day by day, or slice it any way you want to slice it. Look at it in kilometers
Right.
instead of miles.
Yeah, I like this chart. You can see they did a short stop for a charge, and then they did a long stop for a charge, and then another short stop. So they did 3 charging stops, which if you're running for 24 hours is not unreasonable.
Yeah. And then you can see
3
the
meals.
regen when they come down the mountains, and it's really cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so their competition, the Freightliner E Cascadia, run by Snyder, traveled 186 miles on the second day of the program and made 15 deliveries, and finished the day at 8:42 with 18% left in the battery without stopping for a recharge. So that also shows you different ways you can handle it,
Mm-hmm.
and also shows you the difference in capacities of these vehicles. That the Cascadia can do 200 miles on a charge, and the Tesla can do 500 miles on a charge. But
Right, and so
maybe
get something that matches your needs. That's
exactly.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But 15 deliveries, that tells you they're using it differently than what Pepsi is using their Teslas for. If they're making
Right.
3 deliveries in one day, but they're all over the state, and they're making quick stops. Customers happy. That's
Right.
all that matters. Right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I don't know if the eCascadia, that is a Class 8, but you wouldn't be doing 15 deliveries in something that big usually. That's
Yeah, it must have
usually
been all less
from
than
warehouse
11.
to warehouse kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But hey, at least they didn't have to stop for a recharge. But at the same time, though, like to do an
Hmm.
all-day delivery, finish at 8:42, they still had to stop for the break, maybe even a second break. I don't recall if they need a second break, and their rest hour, their lunch break. So
Hmm.
they could have charged. But again, that's how you set it up. So maybe
Hmm.
Snyder didn't have any facilities nearby. All right, let's go to some better news for Honda, I guess. We saw that they are partnering with GM, buying GM's rebadges Hondas in the States, and they had that cool looking box with the 1.5 kilowatts offboarding in Japan. Well, they're partnering with EVgo and Electrify America to have 100,000 fast chargers installed by 2030. And then, of course, they'll also get access to the superchargers through their supercharger coalition with the NACS that they begrudgingly announced that they signed up for. Was it last week? Because like it was the week before they said, oh yeah, we'll do whatever GM does, and then the week after they made an announcement. Yeah, we're joining the NACS
Right,
2025
they did.
ports. Oh, by the way,
Yes.
2024 will have adapters. Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm worried. Electrify America, they JD Power keeps ranking them low
Poorly.
for reliability.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
they've
keep getting
earned it though.
poor.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. It's almost like, forcing someone through penalties to start a company is not the best way to get them to really care about it.
Yeah. Also, you have to design the penalties with the outcome in mind. If you just
Yes,
say install the
which
chargers, they'll install the chargers and not maintain them.
exactly. Yes. What gets measured is what they will perform to, and the measurement was how many have been planted in the ground, not uptime or reliability or any other important metric that
Right.
actual users would care about.
It was number of plugs too, so that's why you have half the number of chargers as plugs, and they don't make sure that they're chargers with the dual plugs that you can use them both at the same time.
Right. Yes. Lame.
Very lame. Uh,
Hmm.
Bennett says R1S is going to sell a lot. I bet. Kind of
Hmm.
like the Model Y shooting past the Model 3 nowadays. Absolutely.
Yes. Yep.
Don't forget the Model Y being the most U.S. made car 2 years in a row, beating every pickup. And pretty much everything's gone to Mexico and Canada. Nothing wrong with Canada. Nothing wrong with Mexico, but If you're claiming to be, U.S. bleed USA, then you gotta walk the walk.
Yep.
Honda needed an all-electric S2000, not this. Yeah, that would have sold cars. They would have made profits, and it would have drawn people to it, like a halo car rather than a punishment mobile.
Right.
Yeah, and so Honda's doing this, and then they're also part of that other coalition that promises 100,000 chargers. That all they came up with was a name.
Yeah, 100,000 press releases. We can promise that.
Right. So if they hold true to their promises, that's 200,000 new chargers from Honda.
And team, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully none of this 100,000 and the other 100,000 overlap, because that's bad. That's bad juju. Lies and statistics, you might say.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then Honda and accurate charging packages, installation credits, EVgo charging credit, Electrify America, introductory charging. Okay. I mean, yeah, you can give away electricity for a while. Everybody can if they want to. All right, let's talk about chargers some more. So California has hit 10,000 DC fast charger milestone ahead of schedule.
Awesome.
Yeah. And again, how many of them are functional? Let's see. The majority of them are Teslas at 6,029. So at least that many are 100% good to go, minus vandalism and one-off.
Yeah, 99.9. That's good enough. Yeah.
Yeah. And then of the rest of the 10,122, we've got at least 50% uptime according to JD Power. So that's almost like having 8,000 chargers out there. Let's see. According to executive order issued by Governor Jerry Brown, California set on course to install 250,000 chargers across the state, including 10,000 fast chargers. Oh, there you go. By 2025. So they just squeaked it in there 1 year, 2 years early. Nice. All right, now if they can get them maintained and keep them up and running.
Right.
This one I pulled up. I was going to just kind of do it for myself to figure out what's going on, but since we've got the voice of reason on with us, you can temper what we're seeing here. The Tesla Megapack catches fire in Australia and continues to burn under supervision, sparking a political debate on clean energy. I mean, all energy sources burn. It's
exactly
energy.
Yeah, when you concentrate that much energy, things are going to happen occasionally. Yeah.
We've got millions of Megapacks deployed, or at least tens of thousands of Megapacks deployed worldwide, and we've heard of 4 fires?
Right, and I haven't heard of any Powerwall fires at all.
Right, that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking. They're called the Megapack for a reason. They're megawatt hour and megawatts capable. Like they can put out megawatts to the grid instantaneously, as well as megawatt hours, meaning 1 megawatt for however many hours. That's a lot of energy, and it's not like we haven't seen a power plant or substation catch fire before.
Right. Yeah. Even
brand new. So a lot of people like to say, "Oh, well, those gas cars must be 20 years old compared to the 1-year-old electric car." No, not always. Look at the Hyundai.
Right.
Yeah. It's blinking at me. Okay, so there we go. And yeah, so let's see. That was one of the 40 Megapack 2.0 units at Gen X Power. It was nicknamed Big Bessie. She caught fire at
now it's got to be Hot Bessie.
Hot Bessie. Fire was contained, but the storage battery is being allowed to burn out under supervision of fire. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, because they don't have to worry about, is it safe, is it reigniting, or whatever. It's you just keep it from spreading, and that's just one way to handle it. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is new technology. Yeah. The kinks have to get worked out. These things are going to happen occasionally. And I'm sure that Tesla will be looking at every one of these failures. How did this happen? How can we prevent it? What changes do we need to make to either our hardware or software to make sure this doesn't happen again?
Yeah. For all we know, the Tesla's the one that called the fire department.
They do get all that telemetry streaming. So yeah, they might be.
Yeah. In 2021,
all right, Kacey. I got to drop after. I got to drop.
Okay,
Something's
well,
going
it's
on
good to have
here.
you.
All right.
Check out
See ya.
patrickscraptours.net. I'm also ending the show. This is our last article. I want to thank all of our channel members and patrons, and we will catch you on the flip side. Thanks for coming through.
Stay positive. Test negative.
Yes.